Christoph, great pleasure. So we've been meeting each other for the first time in May this year, and we had a joint project ongoing. So first attempt in the first year, and a lot of curiosity how it would turn out without a long history behind that. And now seems to be that we managed to achieve 34% reduction in CO2. We were just aiming at 30, so even better than we expected. What was your impression?
Yeah, Livio, first of all, thanks for being, that I can be part of this ag talk here of Xavio, which, by the way, helped us a lot in the process, I have to say that. And I remember very well when we kicked it off and we were all like curious, how is this going to work out? And wow, I mean, we really did it. Yeah?
Yes.
And you just mentioned 34% CO2 reduction. It's a fantastic result, and and surprisingly, the farmer did not have to change his practice that much.
Exactly. See, in the end, what we did was nothing else to really use digital technologies to measure exactly the effect that every of the usual inputs, because in the end, we used stabilized fertilizers, biostimulants, we used varieties the farmers would use normally, and a good crop protection product. So in the end, the result was higher yield, and maybe we can reflect a little bit of the economic viability of the whole system, and 34.3 CO2 reduction. It shows we were aiming for 30% reduction. It came even higher, so it's not something we had to achieve over a period of 10 years, just one season, demonstrating that by adjusting and optimizing the delivery of your inputs, you can really make a big difference.
Yeah, so however you put it, CO2 emissions of the produced wheat are significantly down.
Yes.
The farmer did not have to change his practice, really radically, but he has to use digital solutions in order to pull it off. I think that was quite an important aspect of the whole thing. The recommendations given by the Xavio system, and then mix it up with the right products, mix it up with the right land machinery. So that overall went to that really outstanding result. And you mentioned it, even the yield was up. That surprised me a lot, which is a very important factor also economically for the farmer. That all comes with kind of on cost, but surprisingly the on cost were not that high as I would have expected.
I was particularly pleased to do this project together with you, because we want to move from a very special pilot project into a model which is generally applicable even worldwide, and then allows big areas of land to be converted into areas which are effective and reduce CO2 footprint. And now, if you want to do so, there's also a question, who is paying for that? So we are using certainly new technologies requiring an investment, but how do you see, are we generated value as well, or somebody has to pay for that?
Yeah, Livio, in our value chain, willingness to pay is always an issue. And I would say, roundabout on cost can be, 20, 30 euro per ton wheat produced. But if you boil it down to 100-gram pizza, it's not even a cent, it's 0.3 cents.
Absolutely.
And if you nail it down to a kilogram of bread, it's 3 cents. So one of my biggest finding is that we put an end to this fairy tale that regenerative agriculture is not affordable. It is affordable, and come on, we are talking about 0.3 cents for 100-gram pizza.
I think the best outcome was that it works best with partnership, and we have been doing it together, and perhaps we should think about extending this thinking to the whole value chain, because we've been focusing on the field and the production of the grains, but then we can include also the transportation and how food is ultimately processed, and try to save step by step also at those stages.
Yeah, I agree that partnership and kind of working together in that value chain, at least with the farmer and we, that was key, because we couldn't have done it by ourselves. You probably couldn't have done it by yourself. I want to put, come back to the CO2 that we saved, and want to put this into perspective and what I have learned, and maybe you can confirm it. If we apply these practices, saving can be about 800 tons per 1,000 hectare. And I looked up, what is 800 tons? Is it a lot? Is it a little? But it's what a cruise ship needs in a month.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's already, but it's only 1,000 hectares. So if we scale it up to 10,000, 40,000, 100,000 hectares, and if we scale it up even globally, I think we can have an enormous impact.
And you're always very good in producing easy to understand pictures when it comes to numbers. I think if we really want to stop climate change and even revert that, it's an effort which has to go throughout all industry sector, even agriculture. And I think we have really a good opportunity here to make a very big difference. So Christoph, it was really nice meeting you here. It would have been even better if Mr. Heinrich, as the farmer who joined us in this project, would have been with us today. But we heard there was a reason for him not to come.
Great that you mentioned that. Certainly without Heinrich Esser, and without his curiosity, and without his adventurous spirit to go onto that project with us, we wouldn't have had this result. So greetings, a big thanks. But at least I was told that he has already some plans for next year to continue.
And he wants to also include other crops like malting barley. So that
barley is important, particularly in Cologne.
Absolutely. So that we will get to actually something we can already produce, beer with a reduced CO2 footprint. So we have supported projects.
Stable alcohol, but reduced carbon footprint.
So, and we've supported already projects under the brand of Better Barley.
I mean, there are a lot of crops to go, maybe potatoes, that's a big thing. And there is an French fries producing industry behind that. They are also keen on these regenerative approaches and CO2. They all have their CO2 reduction targets or something. Maybe we'll find some willingness to pay in that value chain.
So it's been a great pleasure today.
My pleasure.
We look forward to a bigger and large scale project for the next growing season.
That's where we will be fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.